I take this opportunity to chair the session for this two-day conference. Now let me, before the papers are presented, let me give instructions regarding the paper presentation. So the time allotted for presenting the papers shall be 60 minutes, shall be 6 minutes, 5 minutes for presenting the paper and 1 minute for question answer session. So 6 minutes totally, 5 minutes for presenting the paper and 1 minute for question answer session. Priya J is not audible. Priya J, you can present later. Now let me call the next paper presenter, M. Arshia.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
So M. Arshia can present the paper now.
Yes. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, audible.
Okay. So, good afternoon to everyone. I am Ashia from Pope John Paul II College of Education, Mulagomurdu. Now, I am going to present the paper on the topic of importance of English language teaching in India in present scenario. First, let me share my PPT first. So, whether my PPT is audible to you all? Visible to you all?
It's not audible and the PPT is also not visible.
Yeah, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. Here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the importance of English language teaching in India in present scenario. That's my topic. And the first introduction. The English language teaching tradition has been subject to tremendous change, especially throughout the 20th century. The English language is a powerful force not just for economics, business, and trade, but for mutual respect and progress. The English language came to India in the 17th century with the East India Company. It was formed to conduct trade with India and other countries in East. So English is accepted as a second language in India. In the words of Gandhi, English is a language of international commerce. It is a language of diplomacy and it contains many rich literacy treasures. It gives us an introduction that English has occupied an important place in Indian education in present scenario. Without the English language, nowadays we cannot do anything in the India as well as the other countries also. And the status of English language teaching in India at present. So let me discuss about what's the status of English language teaching in the present at in India at present. India is a developing country, and teaching of English has become a real challenge right from the beginning of the history of English language teaching till date. English as a language is insufficiently developed in most of the students in India. It is astonishing to note that the English language has won global status or international language, and all the evidence suggests that the position of English as a global language is going to become stronger. But we have to swallow this bitter pill that teaching spoken English to the Indian students has remained a major challenge to the language teachers for ages. And English had to face a few setbacks in India after independence. Retention of English was opposed in India as it was the language of the tyrannical rulers who had tormented the country for 2 centuries. English instantly became the language of communication, and the Indians accepted it as a linked language. It established its roots in the Indian society and in its educational system. Its status raised to that of an official language as no other language could secure. Next, the importance of English language teaching in India. So learning English has never been so important for Indian students. Almost every institute in India has adopted English as a medium of imparting knowledge. From admission forms to textbooks, every resource is available mostly in English these days. Today, most of the research and academic papers that were previously written in native languages are also written in English languages. Indian aspirants who dream of going abroad for jobs or studies must also know English. Getting admission in foreign universities is tough for those who lack communication skills, especially English. Since English is a globally accepted language, students must have proficiency in verbal and written English to apply and get selected in their dream institutions. Only if they have qualified with the IELTS only they can go for the studies and for the work in abroad. And also it is important to learn English for students because almost all books are available in the English language. The vocabulary and terminology in any field like science, economics, technology, medicine, space, etc. Everything is available only in English language. All competitive exams of higher studies are or only they are written only in English language. And next, importance of English language. The first point is India's international affairs. India's foreign policy is the focus of attention of all the countries of the world. The whole of the world expects to quench its thirst for peace with this policy. India wants to be friendly with all countries, so only through the English language only we can be have the friendly relationship with other countries. So this is a language which enjoys the status of an international language. In the UNO, the discussions are carried on in this language. In fact, the majority of the countries of the world conduct their business in this tongue. Second point is importance of English is internal matter. India is a country in which people living in different parts having their own languages. The regional languages are quite different from one another. Every few kilometers, language changes in India. English is the language best suited for maintaining internal unity. If you want to crush the provincial, communal, and separatist tendencies of our people, we must continue to study it. Third point is importance of English in technological and scientific advancement. Major technological and scientific advancements have been written in English language. This is the age of science. We can advance only through knowledge of these subjects. Ultimately, we have to depend upon English to produce first-rate scientists and technicians. English must be taught to our people as good and useful books on these subjects are available in this language. Fourth one is importance of English for higher studies. For proper mental development, it is essential that we study the best literature. If we want to shed the feelings of false superiority and to broaden our minds, we must be ever ready to take the best from others. Now, the literatures of other countries and of our own different languages can be easily applied in English. In our own languages, modern up to date, literature is not available. This makes it essential that our young men continue to learn English. And the fifth one is use of English for seeking job. So even after the completion of studies, students need to have sufficient proficiency in English for getting involved in the process of job seeking. The vacancies of other jobs in India as well as other countries are often found announced in English. As they prepare themselves for applying for the job, they need to write a letter in an impressive way. It is very important for a job application. The qualities of their performance in both the examination are often got on the basis of the quality of English proficiency. And sixth one is to help to stand out. Having the skills to speak and write English can definitely make the people stand out from the rest. English is a mandatory language in India and outside. By learning English, we could stand anywhere and talk with anybody, whether we are a student or are a working professional. And next, the principles of English language teaching. The first one is know learner's language background, their language skill, their experiential background. Second one is identify the learning outcomes, including the language demands of the teaching and learning. And third one, maintain the same learning outcomes for all the learners, include opportunities for monitoring and self-evaluation. And fifth one, begin with context embedded tasks which make the abstract to concrete and provide multiple opportunities for authentic language use with a focus on students using academic language. And next one, ensure a balance between receptive and a productive language. The problems which are faced by the Indian students nowadays, first one is dominance of vernacular language in speaking and writing language. In rural areas, teachers are using vernacular language to explain English lessons to students in order to help them in learning. So
Yes,
they are
Ms.
lacking.
Arshia,
Yes.
you can just conclude.
Okay. Uh, so I'm going for a conclusion. English plays a role of common language between all countries. English is the official language for many countries and it plays a prominent role in all sectors of work and it's highly useful for business field and private sector. So without English, it's very tough to manage in this ultra modern world. So everyone should learn the English language in a proper way. So thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, is there any question from the participants? Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
So as an educator, what steps would you take to promote English language proficiency in your institution?
So, as a professor, what are the steps we are taking? Means daily morning we are giving such kind of activities. Only they have to speak and write in English, such as reading and writing. And also we are giving the voice culture, which improves their voice in English language and everything. And also we are always often conducting the essay competitions in both languages, both English and Tamil. And our campus language is English. Each and everyone should speak only in English, even though they do not know how to speak in English. We are giving some classes like the spoken English. We are conducting some classes spoken English, and also daily morning the first class we are having the spoken English classes to improve their English language for our students. And also we are giving more vocabulary practice to the students because nowadays they are lacking in the vocabularies. So we are giving a 5 vocabularies each day, and they have to learn that they have to use that in their day-to-day life. So these kind of activities we are taking to improve the English language speaking skill and writing skill of the students in our institutions. So it will be very helpful for our students when they are going for applying some jobs and when they are going for interviews. They are telling that the spoken English classes and all the activities whatever they have learned it from our institution, it will be very helpful for them to for their future, like they are telling. So this is that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Arshia.
Okay.
Now the next presenter, yes, Shrija Rani can present.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. I'm here. I'm Shrija Rani from Pope John Paul II College of Education. Here I am going to present this line. My topic is implementation of joyful learning in the classroom in current scenario. And in today, humans, each and every human have the potential that can be developed through the education. Learning process is received by the people who will determine the change in himself and his life in the future. In order to realize the real education, the teacher and the educators need to pay more attention to the design and also implementation systems and the learning methods, teaching methods given to the students. And we have to switch our teaching methods to something fun, means something joyful, means they can relieve from the stress there. Joyful learning is the mode of learning in which the learners are given opportunities to experience emotions of surprise in delightful ways, nurture their curiosity while interacting with the meaningful content through a supportive community of classmates or peer group of teachers from everywhere they are learning. Whatever the environment is created, learning is closely related to human brain. When it is the joyful learning means there is no stress for the students, and it feel the happiness, and all the learning process is also a happy one. And the joyful classroom, which engages the learners actively and infuses enthusiasm and joy through activities in the form of games. We can give the games, stories, role plays, puzzles, and hands-on activities, song, dance, etc. And the next step, the problems in the present education system means they are giving more importance to the memorization, and they are giving more importance to the mark oriented system, and they are giving less importance for the recreational activities and also socialization. Yes, here the must switch over this present education system to something more fun and enjoyable, and there's a teacher's role here for implementing the joy based learning inside the classroom. And the next one is the role of teachers to ensure happiness of the students. And first of all, the teachers have to do is give them free time, because by giving the free times, it gives them the break from the daily pressures and allows them to incorporate what they learned in the everyday activities. The next one is allow them to use technology. Technology allows educators as well as the students to remove the physical barriers of the classroom and offer students a way to connect the curriculum with the real world. And the third one is make time for laughter every day. Laughters can improve brain dopamine system and also stimulate the goal-oriented motivation, and also it improves the long-term memory. And the next one is include activities in the during the class. Activities can also increase the students' level of engagement and improves retention. It also makes the students more engaging and captivating. And the next one is towards holistic learning. Holistic learning seeks to address the emotional, social, ethical, and also academic needs of the students in ethical way. And the next point is learning from outside the classroom. We are teaching the students from morning to evening in the whole classroom, means they feel stressed and boring. Taking the students outside means they can gain more educational experience through the real life applications, and they can learn more from the school. And the next one is schedule brain breaks. And after listening the 45 minutes class or 1 hour class, they need a break for at least 5 to 10 minutes or 5 minutes. It's necessary. Then the learning and the next session and the next hour is very free, very it's a stress-free one for them. And the next one is pursuing a class dream. The for the creating the classroom dream makes the students to work hard for their dream, so it makes the students some more active. And the next one is offer choices. Offering choices also boosts the engagement and motivation of the students and allow them to capitalize their strength and enable them to meet the individual learning needs. And also the next one is vacate on vacation. So here in our area, all the classes are working on during the occasions, and they are giving more stress for the mark-oriented education. So we have to vacate the students to feel the stress-free environment. And the next one is teaching strategies. Some of the teaching strategies that make the teaching joyful inside the classroom. The first one is round robin method. Here we can ask the students. It's a brainstorming strategy. The students are situated around a table in the academic session, and the members in the group, they came turns answering a question with a single word, phrase, or short statement. The students can share their opinions one at a time. Everyone has a chance to speak. Then here in the classroom, all the students can take part in the discussion. This is the main significance of this method. And the next one is QXP. Here also is also main important teaching method for the problem solving. Here so many problems, so many problems have to be given by the teacher, and 4 members are there, and the first one Q, and the second one A, and the third one X, and the fourth one P. And when the Q asks questions, A answers the question, and the X adds some more things to the A's answer, and the P sums up the question. And this is also everyone can participate in this in the problem solving situation. And the next one is dicto class. Dicto class is a type of supported dictation method. The teacher reads a short curriculum related text several times, and the learners can produce their own version as close to the original one. And the next one is think, pair, share. Is also a familiar type method. It's kind of activity where the teacher chooses the text to ask a question from the children. The children will think about the topic, and they can find themselves a partner from a pair, and they can share their thoughts with each other. After the discussion happens,
Ms. Sridharan, you can just conclude.
Okay. Its conclusion, joyful learning is the element of happiness and joy learning, and also it enables the learners and the teachers to experience teaching and learning in a stress-free environment. The children can free stress-free during this type of class activities. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Sridhar Rani.
Okay.
Is there any question from the participants? Yes, Ms. Sridhar Rani, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
As a teacher, do you implement joyful learning to teach your subject?
Yes, sir. Surely I am
Could you give
implementing
any
some.
instance?
Yes, sir. I'm implementing the joyful learning inside my classroom. And my classroom, I think, hope it's somewhat fun, more not like the other classes. I'm implementing some of the teaching methods, some of different in my classroom. Thank you, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sridhar Rani. Next, is Dr. Priya J. present?
Sir, am I audible now?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Sir, can I have the sharing rights?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just I'll raise a hand. I've connected from my system also. I have raised my hand, so please share this sharing rights here.
Ms. Priyaji, please share the screen.
I'm just trying to share. I'm not able to share. Can you share the presenting rights once again?
Yes, share it.
Okay, so I'm facing a bit of challenge in sharing. Anyway, I'll just start presenting my paper. So I hope I'm audible enough now. So the paper title is Inculcating Values in Educational Setup in an Entertaining Way to Create More Socially Responsible and Empathetic Citizens. This is the title of my paper. And first, let's me start with defining education. Education is an integral part of life, and we know that importing education of various theoretical concepts and their practical applications are very, very important to them. And we already know what is the outcome of education. We can see that students are tested, assessed based on the grades, and they obtain degrees, and finally they end up finding good jobs or setting up businesses. But is the real purpose of the education solved? That's a real question we have to have in mind. Now, different scholars have defined different education in different ways. For example, Dr. Radhakrishnan, on whom we celebrate the Teachers' Day, he has described education this way. Education is not merely a means of earning a living, nor it is only a nursery of thought or a school. It is initiation into the life of spirit and training of human souls in the pursuit of truth and practice of virtue. And Gandhi, the father of the nation, had described education as an all-round drawing out of the best in child and man's body. And you find Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, he has defined education as the creation of sound mind in a sound body. And yeah, we have John Dewey, supposed to be father of education. He had defined education as the development of all capacities in the individual, which will
Dr.
enable
Priya,
him to.
sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
The PPT is not visible actually.
Okay, I'll just. Okay, sir. Like it says, it needs permission.
Viewers then go and click share screen or cast screen. It will work out.
Just one second. So does it fine if I go on without the PPT? I still have difficulty in playing the PPT.
Okay, you can present orally without PPT.
Yeah, okay, so thank you.
Your preparation.
Yeah, so thank you so much. So now I have just briefed you about how different people, different great scholars have defined education. And with this, we are moving on to uh, find out what are the outcomes of education actually. So what do we expect to be the outcomes of education? So normally we want people to be students to be good citizens, very compassionate spirits and human souls, and go in the pursuit of truth. And also we have to ensure that they lead a harmonious and a progressive development of physical, intellectual, and moral aspects. But all these outcomes are fulfilled. It is a very big question mark. And we also know that what is the need of the society. As educators, we need to know the need of the society, and we know that education shouldn't stop with just giving knowledge and imparting awareness to the program. It should also inculcate good and fine qualities and values. And here comes the need for the value based education. And we also need to know what are values actually. And we can see values are defined again in different ways. At the International Encyclopedia of Social Sciences defines values as a set of principles whereby conduct is directed and regulated as a guide for individual and social groups. And also, good, a researcher defines values as any characteristic deemed important because of psychological, social, moral, and aesthetic considerations. And there are 8 types of values actually. One is national, intellectual, mental, social, professional, cultural, moral, and religious values. We all need all these values to be inculcated in order to emerge out as good citizens. And what we have to inculcate all these values through education. So, what are the 7 pillars of value based education? You can see we have this character education, health education, environmental education, national heritage and history, personality development, community development, and also skill development. And so, how can this value based education be introduced into the curriculum? So, one is by modeling. So, how do we model? By modeling expected behavior and attitudes. That is by establishing a sense of belonging to the people, making the students feel valued, and the feeling of togetherness must be created. And what will they become as adults, and what like that they can we can show them models. Next is the inner curriculum. Inner curriculum here refers to creating changes within the student's personality. This can be done by developing self awareness, and the individuals can be helped to manage and control his or her emotions. Developing compassion, emotional intelligence is very, very important, and the sense of togetherness needs to be developed. Coming to reflection, this is another way of implementing value based education. That is talking about the inner life of the spirit or imagination. So it refers to the calm and silent state of learning and inner wisdom, and also creating good atmosphere and ethos for them to create good personalities. It builds positive vibrations, and also the physical environment in which a student lives reflects all the values. And finally, the curriculum. When we talk about this curriculum, you can see we can divide a curriculum into formal curriculum, informal curriculum, and the hidden curriculum. So, what comes under formal curriculum? We all know what is taught, explicitly taught, and experientially taught comes under formal curriculum. So, informal curriculum depends upon what is being done by the students during their break time and during their free time, and how is the break time resourced, or how is the break time managed in a very good way. And the last one is the hidden curriculum. It shows how the school's culture can be seen or reflected in the routine, in the practices of the school or in the college. And also you can see we organize different types of events where the school's culture can be represented, right? So all these come under hidden curriculum. And next is the leadership, ensuring that the students develop leadership qualities. That's creating awareness of the values, how they carry about, how they practice the value, carry it outside of the school. So all these comes under the leadership category. And finally is the ethical vocabulary. Helping students to create, use ethical vocabulary is very, very important. So what do they articulate? Not only physical behavior, even the verbal usage of words are very, very important in terms of value-based education. And why value-based education is gaining so much importance? So we'll just have a comparison between education and value-based education. We can see education just opens the mind, whereas value education gives purity of heart too. Education just gives us skills, and value-based education gives us sincerity also. Education just extends our purview to other worlds, to the other people. But value-based education helps us to link with the people whom we live with. Okay, and you can see it teaches, normally education teaches us to compete with others, and here value-based education teaches a human being to be more complete. Education focuses on making a student a good professional, whereas value-based education makes a person a more human. So there is a lot of difference between education and value-based education, and we can see that value-based education ensures that a human is really humane. More than professionals, we need humane and compassionate people for the world. And bringing entertainment into education. So this concept, edutainment, was actually put forth by the American illustrator Peter Cachelanto. He coined the term. He described this process of combining education and entertainment. And this concept was also supported by John Dewey. Actually, he put forth this idea. John Dewey, as we know, the father of education, he put forth this idea of engaging methods of teaching to promote student excitement in learning. And even Walt Disney had implemented this concept when he talks about teaching content, but with incidental environment,
Dr.
entertainmental
Priya, you can
value.
just conclude.
Okay, and you can see that there are lots of research on educational entertainment, and I'll just stop with briefing you about what is the impact of having fun while learning. So you can see that when you make it entertaining while learning, you can see it skyrockets productivity. The classes have less empty seats. It raises the resilience of the students, and it caters to all types of activities and all types of need. It eliminates boredom, it eliminates stress, and also promotes challenge and creativity. Apart from this, you can also see that students are able to perform well. It boosts the attitude and the communication of the students. Actually, this edutainment empowers learning. Research has shown that edutainment empowers learning, and we know that value education is also very important. And it is high time we started implementing this valutainment in our curriculum. And I think as teachers or part of academicians group, I think the responsibility lies in our hands in order to ensure that we involve in valutainment so that the students, we are able to create better citizens for the world. Thank you, sir.
Is there any
Hello?
question from the participants? Any question from the participants? Yes, Ms. Priya, I have a question.
Yes, sir, please.
As an educator, what steps would you take to inculcate value-based education?
Sir, methods to
As an
inculcate.
educator, what steps?
Okay, what steps I have taken to inculcate values? Hello, sir?
Yes.
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 Okay. Yeah. See, I have done this even personally in my own classroom. I handle a set of students who are actually aiming to be professionals. Or students who want to become CAs and CMAs, all those things. Now, so they become professionals by the training at the college. So how do we add values to them? So we have a paper where we talk about the society or the people in the society. We talk about exposing them to different sectors of society and what are the sufferings and challenges they face. We give them tasks like going out, interviewing people, finding out what is the problem actually. And you see, when they become CAs, they actually stop with dealing with people of the higher level in the society. They do not know what is happening at the people for the people at the lower level. So when we conduct these tasks, you can see that the people are able to realize what challenges the people from the lower sector of the society face, and you see they start developing a sense of inclusivity where they want to come forward and help those people. I have seen that happening. I had been handling this paper for almost 1 year, and I see that the mindset of the students have started changing. They no more are very much interested in earning money or making money for themselves. They wanted to do something good for the people who are deprived of such advantages. And I could see like a sort of social responsibility is setting in among the students, which was earlier not there, and which I could see it is slowly setting. So this is what I have done as part of my teaching career.
Now the next paper presenter, Ms. Radhu, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, you can start your presentation.
It's audible. Here, some net problem is.
Yes, you are audible. You can start your presentation.
Okay, sir. I done this in my phone as Word, so I can share the PDF.
Yes, yes, share it.
Okay, sir. Sir, by the issue, I am not able to share the screen.
Yes, Ms. Radhu, you can just present orally.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, my name is Radhu S. I am MA first year student of St. Thomas College, Korancheri, Pathanamthitta. My paper titled Feministic Issues in Alice Walker's The Color Purple analyzes the novel written by the American novelist Alice Walker in the light of feminism. This novel is a feminist work about an abused and uneducated African American woman's struggle for empowerment. The Color Purple was praised for the depth of its female characters and for its eloquent use of Black English vernacular. Her works focus on the role of women of color in culture and history. She has described how both African American men and women have faced oppression in terms of race, class, and ethnicity. The color purple has represented the very bottom structure of the society. Female characters such as Celie, Shaq, Nettie, and Sophia in the color purple are dominated both psychologically and physically. Celie, the downtrodden, degraded, despised, abused, is transformed into an independent and liberated woman at the end of the novel. She has moved from being ugly to a figuratively beautiful swan. She has moved from being the beast of burden to physical and mental declarations of independence to a reunion with her children and her sister. This novel explores the important feministic issues and analyzes the protagonist, Al Seeley, in the novel The Color Purple. Feminism is a range of socio-political movements and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of the sexes. The book, The Color Purple by Alice Walker, gives a detailed analysis of the challenges and predicaments many women of color had to experience throughout the first half of the 20th century in the southern regions of the United States. The author uses different characters to describe hardships and abuses many women face from those who are close to them. The example of Seeley reveals how different women are abused, raped, and even forced to marriage at a tender age. Some fathers in the selected society are seen to torture and even give birth to the children with their daughters. These malpractices are disheartening and make it impossible for affected individuals in the society to realize their potential. The color purple depicts the life of a black girl Seeley who, despite poverty, illiteracy, physical and mental exploitation, transcends her plight through self-awareness to gain a respectable place in the American society. The Color Purple is a novel that wonderfully portrays the gradual forming in a black woman Seeley who evolves from patriarchal oppression to awakening and independence. Seeley, a black color and uneducated African American girl, is able to change her situation. She is a symbol of hope that impress the readers by her strength, faith, and color. Courage. The complete perfection in the novel is rather it brings out the real color of the black woman and their lifestyle in the oppressed. The Color Purple records important hallmarks in feminist literary criticism. Walker not only attacks patriarchal oppression and claims the submerged voice of the woman. One important thing that she also calls into question is the polarity between femininity and masculinity. Seeley and her bright, pretty younger sister Nettie learn that a man known only as Albert wants to marry Nettie, but their father refuses to let Nettie marry and instead offer Seeley as a bride. Mr. Dash's sister Kate feels sorry for Seeley and tells her to fight back against Mr. Dash, and rather there also she faced
Yes, Miss
many.
Radhu, you can come to the conclusion part. You can
Okay,
just
sir.
conclude.
It can be concluded on the basis of this study that in the novel The Color Purple, apart from sexual abuse, women underwent physical abuse. Seeley was beaten by her father after false accusation of winking at the boy in the church. The concept of black feminism is evident in Walker's novel through the dilemma of the black woman characters. In The Color Purple, Walker shows the adverse impacts that oppression of black women has on their development. Black women suffer from discrimination and oppression from black men and the white men and women. The main theme of this novel is gender. The novel exposes gender subjugation and preaches gender solidarity among women. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Radhu, hope your paper is related to your research work. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a question. So, what are the feminist issues do you think in the current societal scenario?
The woman is not getting equal right as men in any field. Uh, now, now in our society or in our world, many changes have came, and the woman also being getting educated. But now also there is some suppressions that woman is facing. So, uh, what all importance that a male or a man is getting same equality should be get for the woman also.
Okay, Ms. Radhu, thank you. Next, the presenter is Sridevi CR.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
you can start your presentation.
sir, I have done my presentation in my PDF as my phone. So let me take it orally.
You can take orally. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I'm Sridevi CR from St. Thomas College, Karancheri, Kerala. I'm here to present my paper, A Gender Reading on K.R. Mira's Hangwoman. K.R. Mira is an Indian author and journalist who writes a Malayalam Arachar, widely regarded as her masterpiece. K.R. Mira's famous novel Hangwoman explored the life of a strong female character, Chetana Gritha Malik. Hangwoman is a powerful female epic which narrates the story of Indian first successful hangwoman. The present patriarchal society nullifies the roles of female even if the women try their best in coming to the forefront by retailing against the patriarchal norms women raise towards the suppression is evident in the patriarchal Chetana. By analyzing K.R. Mira's Arachar, it explores the life of strong female character Chetana Gridha Malik. The novel's protagonist is the first woman executor in India. The demarcation between men and women on the basis of gender has moved a long way from the stereotyped views of the society. The theoretical dimensions gave wide possibilities to analyze the very concept of gender and sex. Gender has become a fluid concept with n number of features in it that can be chosen by an individual. K.R. Mira's novel Arachar questions the basic distinction of men and women drawn by the codes and conventions of the society. By creating a quantified table for analyzing the features society perceived male and female, it is easy to illustrate how much K.R. Mira has novel to break the rigid system. The paper has distinguished the novel into two for a clear analysis as a gender self and metamorphosed self on the ground of gender theory. Patriarchy is everywhere, at home, at work, at school, etc. It present in the voice of every man who wants to know when a woman would settle down. It pierces the skin every time a knowledgeable man advises fellow men that it is their duty to protect women. Many male characters passes through the life of Chetana. When the reader scan the novel, he or she will get an idea of Chetana as a symbol of sheer power in a male-dominant society. But she never grew up as a woman. She was molested and insulted by Maruti Prasad at first, then came Sanjeev Kumar Mitra, who flirted with her and sexually harassed her. As a woman, Chetana was always marginalized by her father. Even if he described for her to be his successor, he believed that she cannot do anything without his guidance. He is of the opinion that woman should seek her shelter under men and that woman is nothing without a man. K.R. Mira portrays the plight of women in contemporary India. Mira picturized Triloke Devi, Sanjeev Kumar's mother, as a prostitute. Thani Bhushan has killed Chetana's Kakima because he has seen her in Sonagashi Nagar in a questionable situation. The typical Indian male always wants a female in his family to be pure, while man has no scruples by indulging himself in whoring frequently at places like Sonagashi. India is a country where women are worshipped as goddess, and it is in the country same women are more suppressed under male dominance. The narration is eccentric and complex, rich with legend and myths about the Gridha Malik ancestor. These stories alternate with current events in this novel, and from a wonderfully layered narrative, thick with symbolism. Imagination at its best, the novel also deals with poverty, gender, society, media manipulation, and is a study of the place of a woman in today's society. We analyze the paper on Arachar could refer to more practical life situations referring to the main text. We show the Indian tradition and customs that suppress women in their field. It could also inspire the movement that it is said to be rigid and that is not. The paper makes way to further study of a section of northern Indian life context where men dominate and the division is so concrete. Through the novel Hangwoman, K.R. Mira launches a scathing criticism of the harshness, double standard, and hypocritical attitudes of the society towards men. Hangwoman is not merely a novel with unique plot structure that portrays strong women. Instead, it comes as depth against the subjective historical analysis of history
Yes,
as male
Ms.
gender
Sridevi,
signifies.
you can come to the conclusion part. You can just conclude.
Okay, sir. The book Hangwoman unravels a typically life of a northern Indian woman who is raised and brought in the line of patriarchal terms. Taking his book as a base, the male-dominant societal terms of gendered, democrated, deepened rules have pulled out to define the gender. The paper has quantified attributed to both genders to illustrate the practical base of it, and has requalified the deviated tradition to prove the body less of gender identity that can be made according to wish of individuals. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Ms. Sridevi. Hope this paper is based on your research work. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what is the social relevance of this paper? Or what is the social relevance of this piece of research?
I emphasize or I raise the male dominance in our society. The women are oppressed in our society. So, Care Mira raises in many places women are always suppressed or oppressed in the society. So I think it is conveyed to others the importance of a female or woman. Woman is not a goddess. She's a woman. We consider women are also a human being.
Okay. Okay. Hope. Okay. All the paper presentations of this session are over.